welcome to Food Neighbourhoods on Monocle Radio. I'm Monica Lillis, and once again we're visiting the places locals love for their food and drink. This week we're heading to Canada's cottage country, Muskoka. Dining options here are diverse, from private chefs to local bakeries, and the culinary scene is rooted in local produce. Here, Monocle contributor Mandy Sinclair takes us on a tour.
I'm here in the Muskokas, a lake district about 2 hours north of Toronto, and often dubbed the Hamptons of the North. With the summer season underway, the area is a hot spot for out-of-towners looking to escape to the cottage for the weekend, the week, or even the summer. Covering over 4,700 square kilometers, with 640 lakes, 6 municipalities with bustling downtown cores and vibrant cultural scenes, and 2 Indigenous communities, the area comes to life as summer rolls around. I spent my time in the Muskoka Lakes District, a region made up of charming small towns and the area's 3 big lakes, plus an additional 77 lakes of varying sizes. Its unique landscape, treed shorelines, rocky outcrops of the Canadian Shield, and glistening freshwater lakes, complete with Grand Dam-style resorts and hidden palatial cottages, several of which rise up from private islands, make this a renowned tourist destination, and one that is often frequented by millionaires, billionaires, and celebrities attracted to the privacy and seclusion afforded in the region. So it only made sense that I started my recent stay in the Muskokas doing as the rich and famous are known to do when in the area, with dinner by a private chef at the cottage. Chef Brandon McLeod spends his summer in Muskoka, where he works full-time for a family who also summers in the Lake District. Over dinner of cedar plank salmon with lemon herb beurre blanc, perfectly grilled steak with chimichurri, and garden-fresh salads, Brandon McLeod tells me about what he's preparing for his clients as summer rolls around.
My name is Brandon. When I first started off, it was Brandon McLeod Private Chefs. I've recently started a new company with another partner of mine. It's Walton McLeod Hospitality. So we have about 15 chefs. In the summer season, we have up to 40 chefs. It's all basically based off like supply and demand. So summertime, it's super busy.
What does it mean to be a private chef in Muskoka?
In Muskoka, I mean, you're still meeting the same caliber as you would in LA or anywhere else in the world. A lot of the clientele that does come down is from ultra high net worth families, or it's A-list celebs, so they have very high expectations. Some clients want, a family style laid back chef. Other families want, Michelin experience, and they want to have the same thing that have at Nobu every single Wednesday. They want every single day while they're here up in Muskoka. But one thing that's, super popular, something I served tonight, which is ahi tuna crispy rice. That originated from Nobu, and, almost every single client that I have will want that dish or a take on that dish.
And so how hard is it to source the ingredients and meet these demands?
On the fly, it can be difficult, but it's a lot of just planning ahead. With fresh produce, we're lucky up here. There's a lot of really good quality fresh produce, like the vegetables, the fruits, the flowers, edible garnish, any of that kind of stuff. But meats, we do have there's a local butcher up here called Stevens. Amazing quality stuff. I don't exactly know where they source it from, but it's some of the best beef that I've worked with all throughout the world. It's just, it's really, really, it seems like a small town, but because of the clientele that do come through here, there is the stores that if you are looking for something, you can most likely find it. I mean, if you're up in Muskoka, you want to have what's close to here. You want it fresh. You want it to be, supporting local business. There's a lot of businesses up here that almost rely solely on the summer months.
And what is local to the Muskokas?
There's Field of Greens. Field of Greens is a purveyor that basically brings all the produce in. They reach out to local suppliers. It comes to their shop, which is just in Port Carling, and you can kind of shop for local ingredients there. And
we're surrounded by lakes.
Yes.
In Muskoka. Any fresh fish?
Yeah. I mean, so we have lake trout. We have perch, which is really nice. Rainbow trout. Depending on the season, you could get salmon, but not as frequent, especially not during these months, not the summer months. It would be a lot of rainbow trout, a lot of perch, some pike. Pike is really, really good. And there's also chefs that I have that are quite skilled in foraging for produce around here. Oh. So if we can and we have the right opportunities during the summertime, there's a lot of chanterelle mushrooms that'll grow. So you can make a really nice risotto, a pasta, frittata, anything there's a lot of things you could source from up here if you just kind of look around. There's a lot of wild berries. Yeah, wild berries, mushrooms, as you mentioned before, a lot of fresh fish. you can make a pretty good menu with the stuff that you could get from the land and from the water here.
Mm-hmm. The glistening lakes eventually called, and boating seemed to be the preferred mode of transportation in the region, with restaurants and resorts well equipped to welcome boaters in search of a bite to eat. We started with quintessential dockside dining at Turtle Jack's, where locals flock for pub grub and cold beers. Here we tucked into classic Canadian pub food, poutine with the perfect cheese curds, fried dill pickles, and chicken wings. Later that afternoon, we docked once again, this time just steps away from Rosso Pizzeria, where manager Luca Mazzaferro greeted us with a chilled glass of rosé before we tucked into wood oven pizzas, overlooking the docks and soaking in the late afternoon sun. Luca shared that he had arrived from Naples for a short visit with his cousin who lived in the area, and was convinced to stay, opening the pizzeria just months later. But it was the Grand Dame of the Muskokas, Windermere, that stole my heart. Dating back to 1870, locals tell me that they come for the views, ambiance, and the famous sushi, but also the celebrity spotting. I spoke with head chef Aaron Klein following a delicious feast of sushi on the patio overlooking the lake to find out more about what was happening at Windermere's 2 restaurants this season.
We'll see anywhere from 400 to 700 guests a day. That's between our 2 outlets, being the Windermere House Pub and the Rosso, which is our fine dining element, which expands out onto the veranda. For the pub this year, we took a kind of smokehouse direction on, so we've got a smoker and a food truck outside that supports that initiative. So you'll see a lot of the briskets and smoked chicken and smoked pork belly and things like that. But great pub house, smash burgers, some tacos, chili, but we also throw in bao buns and we've done Scotch eggs, things like that. So try and take a little bit of our take on kind of that traditional pub fare. The Rosso is certainly locally focused, so local mushrooms, honey, maple syrup, potatoes. Our maintenance manager is actually one of our producers. He grows organic lettuce and some smaller veggies and produce for us, and he is 5 minutes down the road from here. So, we forage on the property here. So we've got about just under an acre. I think we got lots of trees, so we forage things like wood sorrel. There's ramps, there's things like that on the property that we get. We grow stuff in our garden, edible flowers, things like that. So certainly a localized approach, but also using some of those good quality Canadian ingredients.
It's my first time here. What would you recommend I have off the menu tonight?
Our Fogo Island line caught halibut is one of our top selling dishes here. We crust it with some freshly roasted hazelnuts. It's served with a salsa tocino, which is essentially a bacon butter sauce that takes about 2 days to make. Some local fingerling potatoes and just some local greenhouse soft herbs and fennel that we kind of mix into a little salad on top. So.
But cottage life isn't the only industry here. Agriculture is also well alive, and one product the region is known for is cranberries, particularly in autumn. The Muskoka Lakes Winery has capitalized and uses the fruit to create its own cranberry wine, and even a blend with both cranberries and blueberries. A bit too tart for my taste buds, I can confirm it's perfect as a sangria base while sitting dockside under sunny skies and in between lake dips. Speaking of blueberries, locals rave about Silverstream Farms blueberry donuts, baked daily in Port Sandfield. Whether arriving by boat or by car, the queue is long. But it's well worth the wait for the gooey pastries dipped in a perfect icing in this tiny village. It wouldn't be a cottage getaway without cooking up a feast at home, and for that, locals head to gourmet grocery store Field of Greens in Port Carling. No need to stock up in the city. This hotspot has a butcher shop and fish counter, deli and cheese counter. And for the days when we didn't feel like cooking, particularly after a day in the sun, chef-prepared meals for an easy dinner at the cottage were available. But to buy direct from the farmer, weekly farmers markets are held throughout the region, with hardly a day going by when even the smallest of towns in the area host a farmers market for local seasonal goodies to take home, recalling memories of time spent in the Muskokas.
Food Neighbourhoods is a Monocle production from the team behind the menu. This episode was written by Mandy Sinclair and edited by Flynn Simons. For more food and drink stories, tune into the menu every Friday at 2000 London time. I'm Monica Lillis. Thanks for listening.